Alright guys, how's it going? Last November, I had a bit of a rant in my positively selling out channel update video. The channel was starting to fail a bit regarding fresh meat. That's new subscribers. And the trolls and idiots were starting to annoy me just a little bit more than usual. When things are like that for me, I start to look for ways to change it. So in this end of year cloud, I found a couple of silver linings and decided to put some ideas to my patrons in a video before asking for their input via a straw poll. So right at the top of this poll was the option of setting up a website then letting others run it. And then below that, we see an option for a second sister channel. Next up was just keep making videos and screw everything else. And looking at some of the others, do more other types of videos like scientific topics and futurism, etc. And near the bottom I had this idea about contacting companies and perhaps running sponsored videos for them. The idea behind this one came because I was, and still am, turning down a large amount of sponsorship offers on the channel. So I thought that if a company product was relevant and it caught my eye, chances are you guys might be interested in it as well, justifying me bringing it to your attention. In other words, there's no need to shill for anyone or any product I didn't believe in. But let's now take a quick look at the results of this poll. AdoredTV stays as the channel name, and you wanted to keep AMD content around the same level as current. And you did actually feel that I should contact companies who have interesting products about perhaps running sponsored videos for them. But next, perhaps predictably, just keep on making videos and screw everything else. But like I said, that was never an option. This poll existed because I was unhappy with the status quo and I was unhappy with where the channel was heading. One thing I am sad about not doing is making other types of videos on science and futurism type topics. I've got ideas on some, however there's always something else that just seems to get in the way of it. But these next two here on the list were around about equal. And those were, start up the website and let others run it, and then let others run the second sister channel. Finally, right down at the bottom, handed to me was the mandate to continue harassing all three of our favourite PC companies, with 0% of the vote saying stop giving them all such a hard time. You might have a look at the past 6 months on the channel and believe that I did just keep making videos and screw everything else, but that wouldn't quite be accurate. In fact, I ran myself further into the ground by taking on a mission to find competent people who were up to these two tasks in particular: getting a website going and getting a second channel going. I got many applications, 40 or so in total, and then I had a short list of about 20, and finally I got it down to the last 10 people or so. Some of them wanted to start the second YouTube channel and some wanted to start a website. From my own personal experience, I already knew that wanting to do something and really wanting to do something are two entirely different things. So I had a plan to figure out who really wanted to do it. And it was a simple plan. I'd tell them that I was very happy with their application, and then I would let them come back to me. Again and again. It wasn't long before the idea of the second sister channel ran out of steam. On the website side of things, however, there were a few people that just refused to give up. Two in particular stood out as extremely keen to write for a website, if I could get one up and running. As it happened, I already had the basic site, thanks to a viewer, Adam, who built it for me some months previously. The two would-be writers were Donnie Stanley, who had written for a few other sites including Custom PC Review, mostly covering and reviewing graphics cards by the looks of things. And the next one was Matthew Conatser, who had just recently started writing for the large mobile site Notebook Check, and now writes for the even more illustrious Tom's Hardware. I also started out with a partner, as this kind of thing is just too much for one person to take on by themselves. And the four of us were soon joined by a third writer, Alex Stevens, who knew Donnie from way back and also writes for Custom PC Review. So a couple of weeks passed with us just trying to figure out what to do next. We had decided that in order to do everything we wanted with the website, we'd probably need to ditch the old Drupal site that Adam had built for us and start a fresh one. So Adam fixed up the transfer to a new server and we went with WordPress this time around, mostly for the flexibility that allows. And the months passed. and we realise building a website from scratch is not an easy task, especially when we all had other work commitments. My partner sadly had to leave the project to concentrate on his daily job, and I was left to essentially build the website from scratch by myself. And I just put my head down and did it. The front end, the back end, the structure, the forum, the affiliates, GDPR, security, the website. I had to take a week off the channel to do it, and I rather stupidly chose the gap between Navi 1 and Navi 2 videos. And boy did I hear about that. Every day, multiple times. But finally, after months of false starts and frustration, let me present to you AdoredTV Dot Com. And I may be biased, but I believe she is a beauty. While I was building the site, the writers were creating great articles covering reviews, opinion topics, and some great highly technical pieces too that you'll struggle to find anywhere else. At the start of this project, I knew I had the right people because they kept coming back to me, and I knew we had a great mix when we argued for days over the PC builds. And to be frank, we're not happy with them even yet. But by this point, I think we all figure that it's pointless buying anything until Zen 2 and Navi launch. But they're there for now just to have a look over if you want in the meantime. But we are currently 4 people who are extremely enthusiastic about tech, and I believe it shows in all of our work, and I believe it bodes very well for the future. And from the very start, we decided that we wanted to be different to other websites. And from the very start, that meant the site would be AdSense free. Nobody likes those ads on websites, and over time people just used ad blockers anyway. And the people who were left without using ad blockers ended up being spammed by even more ads, while the sites desperately tried to recoup the lost ad revenue from the ad blockers. We just don't want any of that, so feel free to use your ad blocker all you like. But obviously any website which employs writers needs to pay writers. And currently that means I am paying for everything, including paying the writers for their articles and all the other website costs. So we will be hoping to find a sponsor or two, preferably one of the many tech companies whose products you're likely to be interested in. There's room at the sides and for a background ad in all these spaces. This ASUS wallpaper looks great on the site actually. The colours match superbly. And on top of this main site ad, we can probably stick a banner at the top of the forum as well. And that would pretty much be it, I think, in terms of adverts. Maybe we'll rotate these out during the month or every few months, that kind of thing. But of course, there's no guarantee that anyone will sponsor us. Or maybe it'll be sporadic and not enough to cover all the costs. There are other ways to keep some money in though, like, for example, just clicking on our PC builds. And some of these article links. That will lead to our affiliates, which right now is in fact only Amazon. There's also going to be a shop, with some merchandise of course, and some deal pages as well. And I'll also set up a page for all of our affiliate links. So all of that should hopefully help to keep the wolves from the door, even if sponsorship is hard to come by. And essentially, all of this monetization stuff that I could have been doing on the YouTube channel, but didn't want to for whatever reason, we can happily do it on the website, and people can click on links and browse merchandise to their heart's content. And in the end, what this really means is, I can give most people what they really wanted from the YouTube channel, which was to basically leave it alone and keep it as it is. But the website is planned to be more than just another website with articles and a forum. We really want people to get involved and even to contribute with their own articles. Now obviously though, this isn't going to be for everyone, and not everybody has the necessary skills to write a full article. But I'd be willing to bet that there are a few of you who would like to at least give it a try. The idea for this came from a couple of sources. First was when I realised that in various videos during the past 2 or 3 years, I would often refer back to the Stilts posts on Ryzen and Polaris over at the AnandTech forums. This was an absolutely fantastic article that should never have been tucked away in a forum. So much effort put into this, they really deserve something more fitting than a forum post, I feel. The second thing was when another applicant way back in November, December time, going by the nick of Porsche Racer, he also contacted me to note that he had often written these kind of articles on forums as well, and he asked if I'd be interested in that. And the answer is yes. If you're a capable writer who wants an outlet for whatever reason, then by all means contact us. There's a link on the contribute page, linking to our contact us form, and you can send in some details and we'll happily have a look at what you've got. Or, if you've already written posts or articles elsewhere, then feel free to send us a link to it. We can set you up with a contributor account, and then you can play around on our website, writing stuff and testing out WordPress. Obviously though, we can't guarantee that everything will get published. At some point down the road, we plan on holding competitions where the best contributor article of the month or the week even gets some kind of reward, whether that be payment or something else. And I'm happy to say that there's been some pretty cool news on that front, as we've already had a contribution. A very large contribution in fact, with this near 6,000 word article contributed to us by Anubius on why you might build your own PC. It's a very well presented article, perhaps for less experienced would-be PC builders, and this will either completely scare them off the idea or get them desperate to try it out. So now Anubius gets to brag to his mates down the pub about being published on an actual website, and you guys get to read it if you want. Note that we wouldn't expect most contributions to be anywhere near this size, but looking at what we lack for content going forward, we could perhaps use somebody who was interested in writing financial type articles. For example, on the quarterly conference calls by the likes of Intel, AMD and Nvidia. Perhaps even some analysis on that would be cool. We could use more of this highly technical stuff as well, either longer reads or these smaller tech bites, which is highly technical but small enough that you can read it in maybe one sitting. We'll be happy to consider anything, and if it ended up a regular thing with you, and these ended up popular, then I can see no reason why it couldn't end up as official paid articles for you, the same as the other website authors get. Now, one thing I didn't really talk about yet is the shop merchandise. When it comes to anything graphical or artistic, I am just crap at it. But luckily, Donnie does some graphic design, but I can't expect him to do all of this. It was his idea to do this excellent Waiting for Navi t-shirt, and he's been working on a new logo as well. But we've also thought about holding competitions in the forum to find designs for merchandise, either humour based or based on the AdoredTV brand. If we used any designs in the merchandise shop, we'd of course be willing to pay the winner either a small sum up front or even a percentage of any sales. Basically, we made this site to be a real community driven site. We'll listen to anything that makes sense and strengthens the community. And regarding finance and all of this, it will be down to me initially, and then basically hoping all the merchandise, the affiliates are enough to cover the bills if we don't get regular sponsorship. But that's a gamble that I am willing to take. And the thing about this is, I am not in this to make a load of money for myself, and the vast majority of profits will go straight back into recruiting more writers and more staff. I'll be completely honest with you right now though. I intended to get the website up and running smoothly and without requiring a whole lot of my input, so that I can do what you guys really want me to do, which is make video. Regarding actual content like this, I suck at writing. I write how I speak now because all I ever write are these scripts. It sounds fine when spoken, but when written, it's just awful. However, there's another reason for me doing this, and it's that I get a lot of information that I just don't cover. I talked about it in the last video, how I only give you about 10% of the information I get. The main reason for that is I try to build the story rather than throw out a video every day. And that means that a lot of good information I get gets passed up on. There's very little stopping me from throwing out the odd rumour or two onto the website. I had also hoped to do a podcast before my partner had to leave due to work commitments, but that's something I will consider in future. And so that is pretty much what the website plan is. So wrapping up this little bonus video, like I said, I basically built this website from scratch. but I'm no web developer, and some of this is going to require getting hands dirty in code. I've already got myself a little bit grubby with plugins and the like, but there are a few issues remaining. This back-end stuff is infuriating, and no matter what I try, I cannot get emails to work as they should right now, in particular when requesting a new password. So when you sign up for the site, up here, and then click on create an account, please, for the love of anything, don't forget your password, as I don't expect I'll have a lot of time to spend on recovering them. And about that sign up, there's a chance that you'll get an email without a link, depending on which email service you use. I think you'll be okay if you're using Gmail, but if you don't, in that case, you're just going to have to copy paste it instead into your browser. And it'll take you to the forum password setting page. Your website user account and forum accounts are linked, so when you sign up, you automatically sign up for the forum as well. And currently, this is the only password method that I found that actually works, so I just ran with it for now. All of this email stuff is just beyond my knowledge currently, and I'm not sure I'll have the time to fix it quickly, so please bear with us until I find somebody that can. And about the forum, we're likely going to need some moderators before long, so if you are a standout with impartiality and composure under the worst kind of trolling pressure, then you're a better man than me, and well suited to this task. We'll see how that goes during the influx of new accounts. But apart from these little issues still left over, we are as ready as we will ever be. So before Lisa takes to the stage for her Computex keynote, take a look through the articles and get yourself ready. And while you're waiting for Navi, you can always make it official with your very own Waiting for Navi t-shirt. And I'll add stuff like hoodies and mugs to this as well, just as soon as I find a spare hour or two. And honestly guys, if somebody told me that I'd be doing this 5 years ago, I'd have looked at them like they were from another planet. But here we are, YouTube channel, website, and now even my own merchandise. We've started with a handful of articles and we'll be adding more gradually throughout the day. So please make yourself at home, maybe participate in some question and answers in the Tech Help forum, or just introduce yourself, say hello. The Computex keynote is just hours away, and on a personal level, I will either be hung out to dry or I'll be lauded as the greatest leaker of all time. Either way, you are going to be entertained, and we will be covering all of it, both here on AdoredTV.com and of course, on the YouTube channel. I'll catch you later guys.